She said, this is an example of execution unencumbered by strategy. So I thought, well, that's a mouthful. What the heck does that mean? And basically what it means is that you go ahead and you do something without really thinking about why you're doing it, why you should do it, and things like that. And that saying has stuck with me ever since. And it's really a guiding, principle whenever we're doing something with digital, especially something with your website and trying to communicate people. Is what you're doing execution unencumbered by strategy? Are you really thinking about why you should be doing it, what you should be doing, and who you should be communicating with? So I like that saying. I have it actually hanging up on my wall in my office. I look at it all the time. I love that saying. It really helps to keep me focused. So in this day and age, when people are doing searching and the searcher is in control, right? So they are in control of the experience. So they're looking at all sorts of different things when they're doing searching, or if they're on social media. You have all these little micro moments, right? Whether they're doing a search or they're looking at content on social media, looking at YouTube videos, looking at all this information. So they have all these little moments that string together and form an experience, right? So people might be looking for information about a certain product or a service, or try to learn about how to do something. So they do all these little things, whether it's a search or videos and things like that. And what we need to understand is, what is our customer's purpose when they're engaging with you? What are they looking to accomplish, right? That's part of that strategy. So we have what's called active discovery, and that's really powerful. And that's where we need to understand what it allows a customer to do, right? What's their purpose, right? They're actually going out there and looking for something. They're empowered. They can go out and look. They don't have to wait for someone to communicate with them in the old days. Now they go out and they look for themselves. And then you have what's called passive discovery, which is kind of like a secondary thing, where it's just, they're looking and they're seeking and they're hoping to find. They're taking a chance going to a website. They're just kind of surfing. They're kind of just doing general surfing. So they have this passive discovery. So some people know exactly what they're looking for. Other people are struggling and they're just kind of like muddling along. So what we have to understand is when we want to be able to be the answer to someone's search query, but we need to also build trust. So they're looking for trust, and we have to, use our website, use our experience to provide content that is educational, informative, that will build trust with our audience. Because we have to remember that, people can block ads. They can have do not call blocking on their phone. They have streaming TV where they don't have to watch commercials. So we have to use our content to educate and build trust. So we have to learn how to help them in their discovery to gain their trust. So we have to kind of get in their head and understand, what their needs are, what their wants, and be able to answer that. So our digital marketing serves as an exercise in trust and privacy and value. We have to be careful we don't abuse that, because if we abuse their trust, then we lose them, right? So if you're, for an example, collecting information, right? Someone's email address or something like that. Well, if you turn around and you sell that information, then you're violating someone's trust, right? So we want to be very careful that we engender the trust and make sure that people feel comfortable when they're going onto our website. They understand exactly, that we're there to protect their best interests. So they're only going to interact with brands that they trust, right? If you don't trust them, you don't feel like you trust them, then you're going to go somewhere else, right? So I just wanted to touch on that moments that you have this discovery where people are out there looking, they're trying to find what they're looking for. And the way we try to satisfy that need for when they're out there looking for information is through content. We spoke about that with websites and content marketing and things like that. One of the big things that really can help you with your content marketing and even your social media, I just wanted to touch on this, is blogging, right? So a lot of times when I talk to clients about blogging, they kind of, are dismissive of it. And they just say, well, does it really work? And the answer is yes, it does. Because every time you produce a piece of content, a blog, that's searchable by Google and the search engines, okay? And if it's educational and it's informative, that goes really high towards your ranking. So blogging, if you can come up with a program where you blog, on a certain, schedule, and you keep doing it frequently, Google is going to index that information and present that in a search. So, we want to blog because, number one, it's going to drive traffic to your website. It's also going to improve your search engine optimization, okay? Your positioning in search. It's also going to position you as a leader in your industry. So if you're writing articles and informational articles about things related to your industry, that's going to help to position you as a leader. So for example, I have a client, he's in commercial refrigeration. And back then they were like phasing out Freon. That's Freon gas or whatever, and they were replacing it with something else. So he asked me just to post this notice from DuPont on his website about this new replacement for Freon. And I said, well, really what we should do is write a blog post from you explaining this new alternative to Freon and from your point of view. This way that would position you as a leader. So basically what we did is we took industry information that was out there and existed, but we had my client add his expertise and his comments and why, his insight on why that's important. So he kind of curated that content and then he owned it. And blogging also helps us develop better relationships with our clients. So it's a way for us to communicate. You can share videos in blogging. You can do all these great things. And most importantly, when you do blog, then you can promote that content on your social media channels. And it gives you something to put out there. Remember, I talked about the 80-20 rule with social media, that 80% of your information should be informative and 20% promotional. Well, blogging is a great source for content that you can promote on your social media channel. Once again, I've been stressing this with your website and everything else. We want to focus on long tail keywords, okay? Keywords that we think someone's going to search for your product or service. So if we integrate those keywords into your blog post, we can help maximize your search rankings and organic traffic. Long tail keywords generate 70% of all search volume traffic. So for example, if you were to just type in, we talked about it, insurance, you would get 2 million results, but they wouldn't be accurate. But if you typed in a long tail keyword like small business group health insurance, then you're going to get a more accurate search. So 70% of all searches are long tail keywords, even if it's just something as simple as chiropractor near me. Okay, that's more of a long tail keyword. So we want to focus on keywords. Each blog should focus on a set of keywords, and blogging has become very important. So I try to, my clients ask me, well, how often should I blog? And the question is, you could blog every week, but realistically, do you have the time to do it? So, if you can blog once a month, even if you got something out there, that would be important. But once again, we want to be educational. We want to be informative. I write blog posts for a lot of my clients. It might even be in the form of like a press release if something new comes out. But I always incorporate a quote from my client. Like I want their insight. If I'm picking up on a news story or something that's relevant, I want to get my client's take on it and why it's important and what does it mean. So blogging is a very effective way to drive traffic to your website, get engagement in your social media channels, and things like that. So I just want to touch on email marketing before we start going into some online tools and things like that. So email marketing is becoming it is very, very important. Back in 2017, you had 269 billion emails were sent and received each day. And that's of course growing. Now part of the challenge is the cluttered marketplace, right? You have to be careful. You have to be mindful of when you do send out emails. What are you sending out? Once again, is it purely promotional? Sometimes you do send out emails that are promotional, but really they should be informative. And what you're trying to do is maybe drive that person to do something, whether it's to click to your website, to call, some sort of high priority conversion that you want people to do. So email marketing, does have a strong ROI. A study was done and they said for every dollar you spend, you can expect a return of $32. So email marketing has a tremendous ROI if done correctly. It's very important that you play by the rules when it comes to email marketing. So personalization works wonders for email. So if you can personalize an email message with someone's name and things like that, that does help to get people to open them, read them, and maybe perform the conversion you want them to do, like maybe click to your website for more information. So very, very important personalization when it comes to email marketing. So most people are accessing this stuff on more and more on a mobile device now. So it's almost half now are opening these up on a mobile device. So you have to be mindful of what you're putting in there. Is it mobile friendly? Is it easy to read? Some people make the mistake of putting in a whole article in an email. And what they should do is put a summary with an abstract and a click to read more, because we do want to drive people back to the website. We don't want to give everything away in the email. We want to tease them and get them to click and go to your website. And the great thing about email marketing is that we can measure things, just like most things with digital marketing. We can measure how many people opened our email, how many people responded, how many people clicked on something that's in the email. And, we can measure those conversion rates. So there's a lot of information when it comes to metrics with email marketing. Unfortunately, we can also measure who has opted out, how many people have opted out. So if you find you're starting to get a lot of people opting out of your emails, then you're doing something wrong. Maybe you're sending things out too frequently. Maybe your message is just not resonating with the audience. You need to look at that. And email marketing gives you a great opportunity to test things, where you can test different headlines, different types of offers, different things, and then compare the results. They call that A/B testing. So common mistakes with emails are number one is sending an email to someone without their permission. Okay, that's spam. Okay, and even in a perfect world, when you send out mass emails, many people are blocking that email from coming into their inbox. So they know when they get something from a constant contact or something like that, or it's to multiple individuals, it's blocked. It goes to spam. So it becomes very difficult. So sending an email to someone without their permission is a no-no. Okay. Purchasing email lists, once again, that's kind of like, you're not really connecting with anyone. What you're doing is purchasing a list, hoping you send it out to 5,000 people and hope you get a 2% return. You are much better off creating your own email lists. I have clients, we use these forms that come up on their website, and we provide some sort of incentive for people to give us their email list. One of the ones that works really well for me is I have a client that does offsite airport parking. Not a good time right now for him, but we have a pop-up that comes up and says, if you want unadvertised specials, seasonal, specials, whatever it is we say, just, provide us our email and we'll send you exclusive offers and specials. And we get on average, I just checked it this morning, and this is COVID time right now. This is when he's not even doing any business. Right now, he's getting 25 to 30 a week. Okay. Since we've been doing it, we have over 2,000 people signed up to receive his emails. And guess what? When we send out an email blast to that list of people who said, yes, I'm interested in your offers, we get a much higher open rate and a much higher conversion rate. We also bought a list. He had purchased a list that we also send out to. So we send out to multiple lists. We have different audiences and we can segment audiences in email. And I always find every time we send out an email, that purchasing list, which is like 8 times the number of people as his organic list, the organic list always outpulls, always, because those are people that have said, yes, I've opted in. I'm interested in getting your specials. So we get a tremendous conversion rate from that. So it's more important that you send an email out to someone that wants to get it than trying to build your numbers and purchasing lists. Your emails, just like direct mail, are only as good as your list. And if you purchase a list, you're probably not going to see a good result. So you have to be very mindful of that. And that also goes to a stale list, that if you're trying to import old contacts and things like that, you're going to see a tremendous amount of bounces where emails that don't go through, right? Or opt-outs where people say, I don't want to get this, okay? And you need to understand how those spam filters work. And you need to test these emails, before you send them out, because I cannot tell you how many times, you send out an email to 10,000 people and you realize you made a mistake in the email. Well, there's no pulling it back. What you got to do is send another email saying, hey, disregard the first email. And then when you ask people to disregard your email, they'll probably disregard all your emails moving forward. So you got to be very careful, and you want to make sure that you're not, bombarding them constantly with emails, because it's not so much, remember, about what you have to say. It's about providing value. So if you have an offer, you have some articles of interest, you can create a format and you can send these out. I have, during my client's busy season, we were sending out emails once a week to his lists. Then we started to see like an increase in opt-outs. We were starting to hit them too much. So you have to pull back from it. But for most businesses, I would even say once a month, or even once a quarter, depending on what you're doing. So you got to pay attention to that. You can't operate in a bubble. If you see people are opting out of your emails, that's telling you something. So, and then most importantly, in your email, you have to link to your website or a landing page on your website. So if it's an offer, if you have some sort of offer, or it's some sort of, special sale or whatever it is, make sure you're sending them right to that piece of content on your website. Okay. You want to have them click through. We can measure that click through. We can see how many people clicked and went to there. And then using Google Analytics, we can also look at it on the other side when they came to your website. So you got to make sure you're linking somewhere. So most of you people know the top email publishers are Constant Contact and MailChimp. Those are probably the two big ones. There's many, many other ones, but those are the two big ones. They offer different things. Constant Contact, I think it's $20 a month for 500 subscribers. And then MailChimp offers a free plan for up to 2,000 users. So if you're looking to start out and try it, I like MailChimp. I'm more attuned to MailChimp. So I would recommend MailChimp and, give it a try. Put your list in there. And it's very important to create segmented lists. So you may have a list of like industry association contacts, customers, people who signed up from your website. Like you have these different lists. So you might have different offers, you might have different types of content, or you might send one email to all these lists. So segmenting your lists becomes very important. So does anyone have any questions about email or even blogging at this point?
And there's nothing in the chats right now.
Okay, that's good. So I just want to touch on search engine marketing. And what I refer to as search engine marketing is pay per click, right? Paid search marketing. So when you're doing organic SEO, search engine optimization, organic, natural, where you're trying to get your content to rank with search engines, that's a very long process. It takes a while for that to really start working with search engines. But if you want to jumpstart, traffic coming to your website, conversions, clicks, calls, and things like that, you can do paid advertising. Okay, you can do what's called pay-per-click advertising. Obviously, the big one is Google Ads is the big one, and Google Ads allows you to advertise your audience on the Google Search Network. Okay, and then they have partner websites, hundreds of thousands, probably millions of websites. Okay, you go on CNN.com, you go on Newsday.com, Kohl's. I think Kohl's has ads on their website. These are all part of the Google Display Network, where you can place ads, display ads on these websites. Okay, so the Google ad platform is really two parts. It's the search network and the display network. And the search network is your text ads that show up on a search page up at the top, right? So if someone types in, you proactively are looking for something, okay? You are looking for a roofing contractor near me. Okay, you're doing a search, okay? Then boom, on the Google search page, something comes up, right? In the paid area, right? You get these paid ads that come up on the Google search page. Okay, so that's search. So that's when you're actually looking for something. Google provides a text-based ad. It's usually the first 3, and then you have 10 organic searches, and then the bottom 3 are paid as well. So they can have as many as 6 paid ads on a search result page. Okay, Now, it becomes very important that when you budget for these things, because it's all pay per click, right? That if you bid too low or your budget is too low, your ad may not appear on page 1 of a search result, okay? If that happens and you're on page 2, page 3, page 4, you're really wasting your budget. Most people do not go past page 1 when they're doing a search. If they don't see what they're looking for, rather than click and go to page 2, they do another search, okay? So it's very important that you understand that you have to, have a budget that's going to get you on the first page. You don't have to be in the first position, but you do have to be on that first page. And the other part of Google Ads is the display network. And those are ads like cube ads that are actual, designed ads that will have your logo, maybe an image and a headline, and they link to your website. And those appear on all sorts of Google Search Network websites, hundreds of thousands of them all over the place. Those ads can appear. So that works differently than search. So you're not necessarily looking for a roofing contractor near me. You're off just surfing on the web. You're doing that discovery, whether it's passive discovery or whatever. You're just kind of like noodling around on the web, and you go on a website and you happen to see an ad for a roofing contract. You go, oh, you know what? I do need to have someone come out and look at my roof. That's what we call adjacency advertising, just like with social media. The ad exists in the environment, right? So you're on a website. It could be, one of your favorite websites. It could be tmz.com, right? And you're looking to see, what the latest Kardashian, news going on, and you'll happen to see an ad, So that's display. So that's the difference between the two. Search is someone actually proactively going out there looking for something, and display is just an ad that exists on a website. So that display network reaches 90% of all internet users worldwide, and it's over 2 million websites. So it's everywhere. So those are two big distinctions between pay-per-click. So you really, to set up a pay-per-click campaign, you have to calculate a budget. You have to really do a little research on your keywords. You should really look at your competition, see what they're doing. Then you got to really make sure you have a strong landing page. And when I refer to a landing page, that's a page on your website that is specific to the offer or whatever you're trying to do. Google, when you're setting up these pay-per-click things, Google will actually go look at your website and look at these landing pages, and they'll give you what's called a quality score. Okay, and that quality score is that landing page informational? Does it contain information that's useful? Does it contain a strong call to action? Will it compel someone to click or fill out a form or do anything? If you score a low quality score because your website doesn't have strong landing pages, even if you bid higher for keywords, even if you bid more for keywords, but your quality score is lower, you will rank lower in paid ads. Google will put someone who bids lower but has a better quality score because their website has better pages. So I know that sounds a little confusing, but basically it's, you have to have a website that really captures them, that when they click on an ad and they go to your website, that should be a page devoted to that campaign specific, with a call to action, a way for people to reach out to you and do business, or download a paper, or download a tip sheet, whatever it's going to be. So Google wants you to have a quality spot for these people to go to. And if you don't, they're going to penalize you, even if you pay more. It's difficult to overcome that. So you have to focus on that. So you got to make sure you create your ads, and those ads tie into your landing pages. And you got to set up tracking. You need to know, is your campaign working? And if you're using something like Google Ads, they have the campaign tracking built in. We're going to track clicks coming in with Google Analytics and things like that. And then you can publish your campaigns, okay, through Google Ads. So I was talking a little bit about conversions. So what a conversion is when you have someone complete an action that you define as valuable, like clicking on an ad or purchasing a product, even if an e-commerce thing, signing up for a newsletter, actually calling you, or downloading an app or piece of content. That's a conversion. It's a high priority task that we want someone to do. It could be as simple as a click, but we want it, and we want to be able to measure conversions, because we need to understand that traffic is going to come to our site, and different businesses have different sales cycles. So if you're an e-commerce site, the sales cycle is very short, right? People come to your website, they buy, okay? Someone like me, they come to my website, and it might take them months before they become a customer. So we need to nurture them through the process to convert traffic to a lead. So we need to understand that where the level is of these buyers. And if they see an ad, right? If they happen to see a display ad on a site like TMZ, well, you know what? They might be interested, but they might not be ready to purchase, right? They might just be in the information gathering, part of the sales cycle. So you need to understand how that works. So you need to make sure that you have different types of offers and content on your website to kind of nurture the traffic through your site until they're ready to become a customer or a client. So you can do that with content, with your blog articles, papers, videos on your website. You could offer, ebooks and different types of articles, for people that might be interested. And then as you start getting people who are more, more ready to become a customer, then you can actually have maybe a button there if you want to schedule a meeting, schedule a consultation, or schedule a demo or call, right? That means hopefully they're ready to buy, or they're certainly ready to learn more. So you need to understand that every business is different, that just because you put an ad, whether it's a search ad or a display ad on a website, or even your organic search, people might not be ready to pull the trigger right then at that point, as much as we want them to. I think we would all agree, we would just love for people to come to our website and say, okay, yeah, I'll buy now. Yeah, let's do this now. But unfortunately, that's not how it works. They look at your website, they read the content, they may leave, they may go to another website, they may forget about you completely, then they may see an ad for you, in the display network. If they go to your website, we can do something called remarketing. So if someone visits your website, we can do something of remarketing, okay? You've all experienced it, but you may not know what it is. How many of you have gone to Amazon, you've searched for a product, okay? 35 millimeter digital camera, okay? And you went on Amazon and you searched for the Nikon, Model 3 digital camera. You leave Amazon, you don't buy it, you're just looking. And then for the next few weeks, you go on all sorts of other websites in your normal course of business, CNN.com, TMZ, and you'll see an ad for that camera. Okay, that's not an accident. That's called remarketing. What they do is they're sending ads. They're trying to get you back. Okay, you went to the website, now you left, so now they're remarketing to you. They're serving up ads in the Google Display Network on all of these other websites that are completely not related to you, but they're going to and visiting. So it's a way to keep your face in the window, so to speak. So you can say, oh, there's that camera again. Boy, that camera. Why do I keep thinking about that camera? It's because you're being constantly bombarded. So you can remarket, and you can do this through Facebook with remarketing pixels. You can do it in these Google things. So if someone comes to your website, I'm sure you've seen it. You've gone to a website, and then you go onto Facebook later that night, and you're in your feed, and then you start seeing posts from that website. Not an accident. It's remarketing. Okay. Sometimes a little scary, but it's remarketing. One of the other types of pay-per-click advertising I do is geofencing. And geofencing is we draw an electronic boundary around a physical location, a building, a store, whatever it is. And when someone walks into that store or business that we geofenced with this phone, we serve them up an ad, okay? The ad goes into the Google Display Network. So you walk into a store with your phone and your location device is turned on your phone. Most people have it on because they're checking the weather and everything else. We serve up an ad. So you go into the store, you go home, now you're on your phone looking at news, whatever you're doing, you're surfing the web that night, and guess what? You're going to start seeing ads for our client. And we're serving up the ads. So then we're going to track the conversions. So with geofencing, the conversions could be, oh, they see my ad, they click on it. Oh, they see my ad, they call. Okay, there it is, they call. They could click. Or if you have a brick and mortar location, like a store, if they walk into your store with this phone, after we serve them up an ad, we can track that, okay? That's called a conversion location. So for example, I do this right now for a bank, okay? They have, 50 branches, okay? So what we're doing is we're geofencing their competitor, their competing bank. So Chase, let's just say it's Chase. I'm making it up, but let's just say it's Chase. So they walk into Chase, we serve them up an ad for our loan product or our balance transfer, zero balance transfer at this competing bank, okay? They see it, they see the ad on the thing, they could click on it, they could call, but if they walk into my client's branch with this phone, we can measure that. So we know that they went into Chase, we served them up an ad, and now they walked into our branch, okay? It's kind of scary, okay? It's kind of scary, but that's the type of thing that's out there. One last thing on pay-per-click, there's another thing called Google sponsored promotions. If you have Gmail, you see ads in your Gmail, right? Okay, that's Big Brother. Like sometimes if you're typing a Gmail and it says, hey, we're going out looking for new cars this weekend, well, it's no accident that you might see ads for the local auto dealer in your Gmail page. So there's all sorts of different ways you can reach people using pay-per-click. And like I said, just to summarize it, it's a way to kind of jumpstart, traffic coming into your website. So we're going to start to go into some tools now. Okay, the tools, that's what this was about. So the first thing you really want to do is look at tools that, content curation tools. Okay, this is other content that's out there that maybe you can take and repurpose for your own marketing. Okay, it may provide you with ideas for blogs. It may be something that you can read where it's an article and you can share it on your social media with your own insights. Okay, that's curating content. That's taking content from somewhere else and then you're going in and you're putting your own insight, your own thoughts, you're adding value to it. Okay, you're just not sharing it and saying, here, you're actually reading it and you're actually commenting, you're adding it. This is the important part. This is the important part of this article. This is why it matters to you. So there's a couple of cool tools out there that you can use to curate content and then organize it, share it, and track it. So I'm just going to escape out of my little window there. And I just want to show you a couple of these tools. So one of my favorites is this thing called Scoop It. Okay. Now, Scoop It, they have a free plan and then they have a paid plan. And what I do is I put my topics. So for example, one of my topics is search engine optimization because that's what I do for a living. So what Scoop It will do is, it will provide me with a whole feed of articles regarding search engine optimization, content marketing, all these articles out there that other people have written come into my dashboard every morning and I read through them. And then if I find that there's something of value that I can share through my channels, then I'll do that. So for example, I found this article, 5 content marketing trends to keep in mind for 2021. Okay, I read the article. Okay, and I said, yes, it's pretty cool. So after I read the article, I went in and put in my own comment, okay, which is right here. Okay, then I went in and I put in a hashtag. Okay, now here's the cool part. I have these synced up to social media channels. Okay, my social media channels. Okay, so I have my Twitter, my LinkedIn, Facebook, and Tumblr, the blogging. So I could even add a few more. And guess what? So I read this article, I added my insight, I put in a hashtag, and boom. I just put it on all those social media channels. Okay, so here's like how my feed looks for Scoop It. And you can set up your own feed. And like I said, there's a free version. I actually have a paid version because I like it so much. And every day, I may just bring my email window over to you because every day I get in my email all of these Scoop It daily summaries of articles that could be of interest, that are of interest of mine that I can share with my clients. So I have a little Scoop It window. They all come in here, and I can read these things. And if I think it's something worth sharing, I can do that. So Scoop It is a great tool. It's scoop.it. That's the website, right? Scoop.it. You can sign up for free, and then you can go in and add your keywords and things that you might want to use. And it's a great aggregator of content that I can curate and send out. Look, here's another great one, right? 7 productivity tips for bloggers. Now, the right thing to do is not just to share this, it's to read it. Okay, so if I click here, I can read it. But let's just say I did. Well, then I just click this Scoop It button. And then boom, here it is. I add my insight. Here, and I want to share it on these channels. Put a hashtag, and I'm off to the races. So Scoop It is a really cool tool to curate content to come in, because we're trying to be realistic that you're not going to be able to generate your own content all the time. Okay, you're running a business, you're doing 9 million different other things, you're homeschooling kids on and off. I mean, so what you want to do is supplement your own content with curated content, okay, and share it, okay, but add the insight. Just don't share it. Add insight. Add some sort of thought. Okay, the search engines, they look at this stuff, and that's what helps to build your social authority, by you promoting this, commenting on it, and adding your own insight. So that's Scoop It, okay? Now, the other curating tool, and there are others out there, but these are the ones I like. I use Google News. Once again, Google News is free. So what I do in Google News, and look, this starts getting into, also, we talked about social media and Parler and things like that. Google News has the ability, as you're looking at stories and reading stories and saying, I like this story, send me more articles like this. It starts to customize your news feed, right? So if you're interested in certain things, like in my example, obviously I'm interested in digital marketing, I'm interested in content marketing, search engine marketing, things like that, okay? So, I have all of these things coming into my feed, and what I do is, you have like top stories, like everyone. I'm logged into my Google account right now. So I'm logged into my Google account. Here I am. So right now I'm in my office, so it's giving me the local weather. But what it's doing now is it's giving me just some basic news, right? So it's just giving me basic news. And then I also have like local news and things like that down here. So once again, it's local because it knows I live in West Hampton, so it's giving me some local news. But what I like to do is I will look through these different sections, and I'm doing this all the time. So I'll look through these articles, and I'm just scanning them right now, and I'll go, interesting. Okay, so far nothing. And if I see an article that I think is going to be useful, then what I can do is I can just save this to my saved articles. I keep talking about keywords. That's all I keep talking about, right? Keywords. So for you to understand, what keywords are important to you, you can use tools. And there are some tools like SEMrush and things like that, where they'll offer a free service for a few days and then you have to pay. But you have the Google keyword planning tool. And that's where you can search like statistics and keywords and how often they're used and how competitive those keywords are. You want to find that balance, because if you're a small business, it's hard for you to compete for keyword attention against a large company that has a full staff of, digital marketers at their disposal. So you can use the keyword planning tool, to go in and insert keywords. I'm just going to close out some of these windows because what I did is I pre-opened them up so I'd have them. Keyword ideas, right? So you have the Google keyword planning tool. You can go in and put in keywords. Now, for example, I did here residential roofing services. And when I did that, it gave me some more suggestions and different keywords and different ideas. And then what it does is it tells me down here, the keywords, how competitive they are and how often they're searched for. Okay. Another cool feature is you can test the speed of your website. Okay. Part of the usability is even if you come up on search, so you've done it, you've optimized your content on your website so that you come up. Congratulations. Someone does a search, you come up on the first page. Wonderful. Okay, that's great. But they click and they go to your website, and it just loads and loads and loads, and it just keeps loading, and it's taking forever to load. Well, guess what? They're not staying. They're leaving. They're going. They're not going to wait. Okay? People don't have any patience, right? If the website takes too long to load, they're gone. So even if you have the best content in the world, okay, and you've got a really beautiful looking website, and you got up there with organic search results, if your website is slow, okay, people are not going to stay on it. And when I spoke about the quality score, if you remember, when Google kind of ranks your website, page speed is also part of that quality score. Google does not want to send someone to your website if it's slow. Remember, they work for the person doing the search. So this Page Insights is a tool, free tool you can use. Let's go to our next. All right, so we built our website. Okay, we're ranking for organic. We're maybe even doing pay-per-click. We're doing social media. We're putting out posts. We're doing email blasts. We got all this stuff going on. We're reaching out to people, and we're trying to get them to convert, maybe to click to come back to our website. Okay, so the great thing about digital marketing is our ability to measure, right? We can measure. So the most important tool that we use to measure website traffic, website engagement is Google Analytics. Okay, so Google Analytics is a free tool. Okay, if you have a Google account, okay, you just go to Google Analytics. The hardest part about it is you need to have a piece of code put on your website, a tracking Google Analytics tracking code. Okay, if you have a WordPress website or a Wix website, they probably have a place for you to just add that code yourself. Okay, if you don't, you may need your web person to add the code to the site. Okay, and then what that code does is that tracks the traffic to your site. So Google Analytics will show you how people came to your site, where they came from, the number of people who came to your website. Did they come from a referral link to your website? Was it organic? Was it paid? There's only so many ways people can find your website. Okay, number one is they know your website address, right? They know it, okay, because you're Coca-Cola or you're FedEx, and they know your address, or they bookmark your address and they click on it and they go directly to your website. We call that direct. They know the web address and they go to it. Boom. Okay. Another way is organic. Okay. They're doing a search. They come across your website and then they click on the link on the search page. Okay. Then you have what's called referral. Okay. Referral means there's a link to your website on another website. Remember I spoke about backlinks, okay, how having a link on the Huntington Chamber of Commerce website to your website is gold, okay? So Google Analytics can measure those referral links coming from other websites to your website. So this way you know. So for example, if you're advertising on a certain website, or you're listed on the HIA website, you can look in Google Analytics and see, wow, I got so many clicks from the HIA website. That's called a referral. Okay, and then you have paid ads and things like that, where you're actually doing paid per click ads. So those are really the only ways anyone can really get to your site. It's going to be, one of those ways. So we use Google Analytics to measure how many people visited your website. We can look at some basic demographic information for users coming to your website. A lot of that is predicated upon people being logged into their Google account while they're coming to your website. Because remember, when you're logged into your Google account, Google's monitoring and recording everything you do. Okay, they're looking at which websites you go to, what you're clicking on. Okay, they know how old you are because of your profile for the most part, because you put your birthday in when you set up your Google account. They know your interests and they start building a profile. Okay, so we can pull some basic demographic information from users coming to your website. Okay, we can also look and see how much mobile traffic is coming to your website. So you want to know. That varies depending on the type of business you have. Generally, it's probably more than 50% is now mobile. Generally speaking, it's probably 60 between mobile and tablet, but there are exceptions to that. So you can look at that. Okay, which are the most popular pages of your website? So if you're writing articles and things like that, you can use Google Analytics to see how many people went on that page and read your article. Wow, everyone loved this article about whatever. Let me do more, right? So, marketing is not rocket science like that. It's like, if you see it resonates with people and you can measure it in Google Analytics, then why wouldn't you do more of it? Okay, so you can find out, like I said, the content, even what pages they're leaving on your website. What are the exit pages? So unfortunately, in most cases, most people will visit one page of your website. So you have to, I'm just going to go to the bounce rate first. So a bounce rate is when they measure the percentage of people that visit one page of your website and leave. That's if someone comes, they may go to your homepage and say, ugh, all right, not for me. Or, hey, okay, that's what I was looking for. You're licensed and insured, and here's your phone number. So I don't need to go any deeper. I'm calling you. Or, yes, oh, you do that service. Or, yep, you're open till 9 tonight. So they only go to one page of your website. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but we want to measure it. And if we're looking to improve engagement on our website, that means we want people to spend more time on our website. We want them to look at more pages of our website. So if we want them to look at more pages of our website, then we want our bounce rate to go down, right? The bounce rate is the percentage of people that visit one page of your website. So Google Analytics provides all this information about how frequently you get visitors coming, return visitors, different things like that. So I'm going to show you an example of Google Analytics. I'm going to just go out of here and we're going to go into Google Analytics. Just give me 1 second here. Close some of these windows. Okay. Google Analytics. Okay. So here's Google Analytics. Okay. So the first thing we can do is we can look at an overview of our traffic coming to our website. Now, what you do is I have a date range put in here. Okay. So I'm just doing, basically what I'm doing is year to date. Okay. So in this instance, okay, there have been, 6,360 users coming to the website. Okay. And then you have, these are how many new users in that period of time. So from January to November, we had 6,320 new visitors. And then we had some returning visitors and things like that. That's why that number's more. And here's the total number of sessions. Sessions are like them actually going onto your website, looking at pages. They can come back, they leave, they come back. So you have the total number of sessions. So in this case, the actual average session is 1.2 sessions per user. So that means on average, the average user goes to the website 1.2 times. Okay, that's kind of low. Okay, so over that period of time, the users looked at over 13,000 page views on our website. So the average user went to 1 3/4 pages of my website. Once again, these are numbers, and what we want to look at is improving these over time. So we barely got over 2 people coming to this website. Okay, now part of the reason in this case with this client is that we're doing a lot of pay-per-click advertising. Okay, we're doing a lot of pay-per-click advertising, and we're sending them to landing pages. So they are only looking at one page of the website, and things like that. So, you have to take all this with a grain of salt. So their session duration is a little bit over a minute. And you can think, well, that's kind of short. Well, just think about it. Think about if you had a minute of your prospect's time. A minute is okay. It's pretty good. Obviously, you'd like that to be a little bit more, but they spent a minute on your website. So if you got that, you got to be able to really deliver and give them what they're looking for. And the bounce rate here is pretty high. Okay, so 70% of the people who went to this website visited one page and left. And like I said, some of that is attributed to that we're doing pay-per-click with them. So we're sending them right to a page. They're going right to that page with that offer, and they're not necessarily surfing. So they're either going to go to that page, make the call, fill out the form, whatever they need to do. So we can go in and look at demographics, okay? So once again, this information is pulled from people who are logged into their Google account while they were on our website. So it tells you right here, 22% of all the users that went to the website year to date were logged into their account. So we know right here, here's the breakdown of ages, right? So in this case, this website, 24% were over 65 years old. Kind of interesting when you think, well, you know, older people aren't on the internet. This particular product and service might lend itself more to the older people, but you can see the breakdown here. So you have 22% here. You have almost half your audience is over 50 on this website. It's kind of interesting. And then you have these little breakdowns by male, female. You can look at that. And then you can look at what's called interests. So over time, okay, Google develops this profile of the users, and they call these affinity categories, or things that people are interested in. So, you know, 3.5 people coming to this website, you know, one of their interests was food and dining, you know, hobbies, lifestyles, banking. Like, you can look at these little categories and interests, and this helps you that if you are going to advertise, let's say you're going to do paid display ads and things like that. Well, you know, maybe I should go on these types of websites. You know, maybe I need to be on, you know, different types of websites like food and cooking enthusiasts and things like that. It provides us with some basic information. It's only a quarter of the total audience, but it does provide you with some interesting information about this, you know, affinity categories. So that was this first thing up here. So it tells you that, you know, food and cooking people, you had 797 visits. Okay. The bounce rate for that was almost 60%. So that's a little bit less. You know, more people looked at more pages of the site. So you can see how many pages they looked at, how much time, and things like that. So it's kind of interesting. And then there's this other cool thing with geo, where you can look, where did these people come from? And the country view is not very telling, because most people would have what this is showing, the United States. But if you start breaking it down by city, okay, you can start to see some different things going on. So then, once again, we can use Google Analytics to look at mobile, right? We can go in there and say, here it is. Okay, here it is. 71% in my client's case is desktop. Okay, my client provides a professional service. So the people that reach out to my client generally are doing it from their office, you know, on company time. It's a professional service that they come to their office and they do it. So it makes sense that people are doing it from their desktop computer, because they're sitting at their desk at work and they're going on the website. That makes sense. Mobile is just about 26%, and then tablet is like 3%. Okay, so then if you could even drill down even more and find out what devices they were using. So for example, the Apple iPhone, okay, the iPad, Samsung Galaxy. You can look at this and see what different types of devices they're using. Kind of cool, you know, useful knowledge. So, you know, in my client's case, they're getting a lot more desktop. Okay, you can look at now different types of traffic coming into your website. Okay, through sources. Where is your traffic coming from? Okay, so that loads. And once again, Google is free. Everyone can have access to this as long as you can get it on your site. So in my client's case, okay, year to date, their number one source of traffic to their website is called direct. Okay, that is, they know the address and they go to it. Okay, so they have it bookmarked. So my client has repeat clientele, right? So they bookmark my client's website, they go to it. Okay, so they have direct traffic. Number two is Google Organic. Well, that's good. That means that, you know, almost 1,700 visits came from someone doing a Google search, finding my client in Google, and then clicking on the ad through an organic search. Then we're actually doing pay-per-click advertising. Okay, Google pay-per-click. So we can see how many people, you know, clicked on our ads and went to the site. And what's interesting is when you compare organic, Google Organic, to paid search, look at the difference in how many pages they visited. So someone did an organic search, they looked for me, they visited almost 2.5 pages to the site. When they did paid, it was 1.8 pages. So it's kind of interesting where you can look at the different time. They spent 40 more seconds with an organic search because they found what they were looking for and they went on there. Then you have Bing search, right? Organic. Here's my geofencing. I did geofencing campaigns for them. Okay. Yahoo. Okay, Yelp, you'll get links coming in from your Yelp account. Okay, you can look at referrals coming in. Okay, where are these? These are clicks coming from other websites. So once again, mobile Yelp. Okay, Facebook. These are geofencing things coming in here as well. Okay, so here's some sort of directory. Okay, this is a search engine. Okay, so you can look at this information and see, where are these people, where are they coming from? Okay, MSN, and you can see where people, here's, PlayStation, MSN, Facebook. You can look at all these different things. You can look at social. I don't know if my client's really doing anything with social, but you have the ability to look at different things like this. So Google, nope, they're not. So Google Analytics can tell you a lot, but Google Analytics does not measure exact numbers. What you have to understand is it doesn't measure everything exactly. Google Analytics tells a story. Okay, it tells you a story about, well, okay, basically the bulk of your traffic comes from direct people knowing your URL and going. Okay, it tells a story, and it tells that story over time. Okay, you can also look at real time. Like you can actually look and see who's on your website right now. In this particular client's case, no one is on the website right now. Okay, but if someone was on their website, we would be recording it right now, and we would see that. So it's just telling a story, and we want to look at that story over time. So that, for example, if our average time is 58 seconds, let's just say, we would hope over time when we produce more content, we optimize our site, we get people to spend longer time. So maybe we get it up to 1 minute and 20 seconds. Maybe now they're looking at 2 pages of our site. So we look at that over time, and we're hoping that we're going to trend upward with this. So Google Analytics is a very important tool to use to measure that. And the last tool I'm going to use, 2 more things real quick, and then we'll go to questions. So you can research hashtags and things like that. So if you go into like Twitter or even Instagram and you want to find out what popular hashtags are being used, you can do that. Okay, you can explore hashtags, okay, in Twitter and see what are the trending hashtags, okay, and things like that. There's different things. So you can search trending right now. So it's trending hashtags. Here, Monday motivation is a trending one, okay? Monday thoughts, okay? These are trending hashtags that are going on today, okay? Monday morning. So what you can do is you can click on those hashtags and see which posts are using those hashtags, okay? Kind of interesting. So when you're doing your research, if you want to post on Twitter or Instagram and things like that, research your hashtags here, whether it's in Twitter or Instagram or even LinkedIn, and you can look at these hashtags and see how are they being used. Look at your competitor, see what your competitor is using for hashtags, and you can research hashtags too. And the last tool I want to show you is Moz Local. Okay, so Moz Local, what that does is that checks all your directory listings. Every business has multiple listings. Your Google My Business page, your Bing business page, your Yelp page, your Facebook page, your Yellow Pages page. We all have these directory listings, whether we know they exist or not, they're there. Sometimes we claim them, sometimes we don't. Sometimes you have duplicates, but it's important to get a handle on it. So you can use a tool like Moz Local to check your listings. You can do that, but at a certain point, Moz is going to say, hey, you got to pay. And there it is right there. So this Moz Local is a great tool for you to check all these listings out there, to see where you stand. So here are some other additional resources. I just showed you Moz Local. Moz has a great blog that helps you, talk about all these things with search engines and optimizing it. SearchEngineLand.com is a great website, great resource for you to go and look for best in practices things. There's a gentleman named Ran Fishkin. He's a bit of a character. He's got a big handlebar mustache, and sometimes he shaves half of his head and sometimes he doesn't. This guy is one of the foremost authorities on search, and he does it, and he does these whiteboard Fridays, and he does this great stuff where he teaches you this stuff in a very fun way. Matt Cutts is an expert on Google, and if you just Google Matt Cutts, he's a little bit drier. He's a little bit more, drier, but provides useful information, and HubSpot is another great tool. If you go to HubSpot.com, great articles, great resources to help you to, build a better website, optimize your social media and your search. So that being said, that's the end of the presentation. And